Welcome everyone to episode 61. Cannot believe, first of all, I can't believe it took me 61 episodes to get you in this chair.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to sit down. I always love talking to you. You're so fun and we're similar. So it's fun to kind of bounce and riff a little bit. So tell everybody who you are, what you do, and all that fun stuff.
Sure. So I'm Jessica Portalatin. I am a business and trademark attorney, and we help growing businesses protect their assets and their brands while they're expanding so that they can expand with peace of mind.
So good. Mm-hmm. So good. Why law?
Because I didn't want to go to medical school.
Oh.
That's really, and that's the most honest answer you're probably going to get. My mom is a doctor. She considered me her brightest child. And so she was very disappointed when I didn't want to go to medical school. And so they kept saying, well, you argue so much, you might as well just go to law school. And I just didn't look at any other option. I was like, I guess I'm going to law school. And so I did. And here I am.
That's hilarious.
I mean, that's really what it is. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should have gone to medical school, but no, I'm happy with the choice I made.
Do you litigate?
I do not. I have enough gray hairs. You see these gray hairs?
That's fascinating. That's you argue enough, but you don't even do the argument part of it.
I know.
That's interesting.
I really do think that I'm a mediator at heart. I'm a very practical person.
Oh, I love that.
And so for me, especially when I do with businesses, I'm like, does it make sense to fight over this money-wise? Like, you got to think like a business.
Right.
And so I don't think I'm the best litigator because that's how I think. I try to bring reasonable minds together. That's more of a mediator, not so much a litigator. And so yeah, it's not for me.
Well, that makes sense. So that's a good perspective to have too, because I mean, there's some people that have to prove a point for like a principle and they just won't let it go. It doesn't matter what it costs. There's those types of people that you couldn't convince anyways. Yeah. But I mean, ideally you want an attorney that thinks this way, right? That they're like trying to save you the money, trying to save you the heartache. Let's resolve it and move on. So
I had a litigator that told me that because my last boss told me, when you hear someone say it's the principle, run, right? And I was talking to a litigator and I told him that. He goes, that only lasts 31 days. And I looked at him like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, in 30 days, you're going to get my invoice. On day 31, you're not going to care about principle anymore.
Right.
And I was like, that's so true.
It's true.
That's as long as the principle lasts. So.
I feel like that happens a lot in family law. Family law is so emotional. So like some people just aren't willing to let things go.
It lasts more than 30 days.
For sure.
I did family law when I was in law school. I worked at a family law firm. And I thought I wanted to do family law. And then the drama was just too much.
I can imagine.
I remember the people sitting in front of me, I was just like, can you just tell me what I need?
Yeah, that doesn't work.
But it was just like the emotion, right? And it's incredible that when I would start a case, 2 years later, and we would make an offer, 2 years later, they would settle for that same exact situation, but they just needed to fight it out for years and spend that much money. And it was just, it's so, like you said, emotional, not logical. And so I realized that's not where I need to be.
I would imagine it's super taxing too. I mean, as the attorney, I mean, I would assume there's only, I feel like that estate planning could be probably very emotionally draining. I mean, you're kind of therapists to a point. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, all right. Well, tell me about your career when you came out of law school. Did you work in big law or did you go that path?
No. So I did an internship in big law and I also did some doc review after law school and I hated it. Like, it's not like the show, guys. Yeah. It's not. It was so sad. I remember I did an internship for, I think it was like 3 months and I would sit in the lunchroom every day. I would say good morning to people on my way to my desk just because that's how I was raised, right? Not one person would say good morning back. And on my last day of and also I remember sitting in my car during lunch and I was just like, I want to squeeze out every minute. I hated going back up. And then on my last day of my internship, I'm sitting in the lunchroom and there was some ladies sitting in the other table. They had been working around me for the last few months. And they go, are you new? And I looked at them and I said, no, today's my last day. I've been here for 4 months. And they didn't know what to say to me. They just looked away. And I was just like, I remember saying before that experience, as long as you pay me enough, I'll work anywhere. And that taught me to shut up, that's not true. And so I did not want to go to big law when I graduated. I wanted to make sure that I went to a place where I enjoyed going to work, where I knew the people around me and that there was that culture. And I was blessed to go to a place like that.
And so how long did it take you before you decided, like, what did it feel like? I want to know, what did it feel like to have that job? And even if you liked it, you worked at a place that you liked, what were the feelings of like, man, maybe I should do this for myself? What did that feel like?
I don't think I'm not the typical entrepreneur. I feel like there's people that are like, I know I'm going to have my own law firm.
I would say I'm the same.
Yeah. I was not that person.
No, I'm one by accident.
Yeah. I was happy at where I was. And then things started to change. And I had noticed that was like the third law firm I had worked in since 2007. Right. And you start seeing patterns. Right. And so there was one pattern that I kept seeing, and I was like, unless I do this myself, I'm going to keep seeing this pattern. And so I said, now is the time to do it. I didn't have kids. I wasn't married. I didn't have any, well, I have student debt, but I didn't have any other debt. Right. And so now was the time to take the leap and to take the risk. So I did. Okay. And here I am 10 years later.
10 years. Okay. And so we're in 26. So, 2016. So you hang your shingle. Mm-hmm. How do you get your business?
Man. So at the beginning, I don't recommend you do these, guys.
It's so funny to have these conversations, right? Because it's like you made it work.
I did. I mean, I'm here.
Yeah.
But, I talk to people now that go out on their own after they've been in practice for 10 years. And they're like, oh my God, I just have so much work and I just need help. I was like, I wish that would have been my problem. I left and I knew no one. I was a baby lawyer and I didn't have any clients. I didn't have any referral sources, right? And so that was scary and it was hard. And I would wake up at 5 a.m. to go to a mastermind to meet people. Then I would go to a chamber breakfast right after. Then if there was a lunch event, I would go to a lunch event and network. And then I would go to night events. I was home every day at like 10 o'clock at night, every day for like months.
Do law.
Yeah. I mean, if something came through the door, I was like, yes. And at that point I had partners. I had 2 partners at the point. We didn't last long together. I mean, within months I was by myself. But there I felt like I was blessed that I had been doing all the networking because people were like, I didn't even know you had partners. Right.
You had the relationship. Yeah.
So everything kind of boomed after that. And it was really a blessing, but it was really hard. And I mean, great for people that say like, oh, it's so easy going on your own and doing your own thing. That wasn't my experience. I struggled. I still struggle today, 10 years later. It's just a different type of hard.
Right.
But yeah, it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. I say that and I've pushed out a kid. I think it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's something that I continue to do. And I was telling a colleague of mine the other day, I was like, man, if you want to be humbled, become a business owner. That'll humble you real quick.
It's so funny that you say that because I had told my brother-in-law, I was like, I feel like owning a business is the most raw, because I haven't pushed out a baby. I don't have any kids, but it's so raw and like exposing, like everything you're bad at. If the world knows, because either your business grows or it doesn't, and it's because of you. Like that's how I feel. And so it's like very personal for me. Yeah. Whenever I see things that aren't working which I mean, it's not necessarily true, but it feels that way in the moment when you're building and those long days where you're just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I'm 6 years in and some days I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? Or why?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, I could just go get a job.
Yes.
And make all the money, be happy. I think I could demand some, like, I'm working flexible, like I'm taking unlimited vacation. I could do that.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just go the easy route? But then there's, then you wake up the next day.
Yeah. My husband started calling me out on my bluff already because I think there's been so many times I'm like, I'm just going to go get a job.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you're not.
And he's like, the last time he was like, all right, let me know how that goes.
Right.
And whatever you want to do, babe. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, wait, you're not going to fight me on it? No,
But in all seriousness, there have been many times, and even until recently, that I'm like, have to really go back to why am I doing this? Because it is so hard sometimes, there's days that you're like, am I going to make payroll?
100%.
Do I have to fire this person? Can I really do that? She's a single mom. Can I do that? And there's so many things that the buck ends with you. And like when the clients are upset, guess what? It doesn't matter who messed up. It's still your fault, you know? And so there's times that I'm like, man, I could have had maternity leave paid for, could have had a nice vacation. I could have turned off my cell phone after 6 o'clock. Right. I do miss those times. And yet I feel like it's a blessing and an opportunity that I've had. And although I may not feel like that every day, I feel like that most days, and I think that's okay.
I think that when I look back, especially like the timeline, right, of like the end of the year, you never stop while on it, head down working to see everything you've done. And then it's like when you look back and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I did do a good job, or I did do that. Like it just doesn't feel you don't celebrate the wins. It's such a mental game.
Yeah.
It really, really is so tough. And so obviously you help business owners.
Yeah.
So you talk to them all the time. Like, how do you talk them off the ledge?
Man, I had a business owner the other day that he was just in a pickle. And he was telling me things that I had already gone through. And I told him, I don't want to sound cliche when I said this, but I really understand what you're going through. And we can take these steps and you'll be better. And this doesn't reflect anything on you. Because something that you said a little earlier, you said like you feel like you're doing something wrong if the business goes wrong.
Right.
And I had to be called out on that a lot because I would say, we're failing. And he's like, who's failing?
Right.
And someone had to come in, who's failing? The business is failing. You're not failing. You have to separate yourself from your business. And also define failure.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because
it feels like a failure, but it's rarely a failure.
Right. Or one thing is failing and then all the other things are working. And so success is such a snapshot, right? Like if you snapshot this quarter, do you consider it a success or failure? But it's such a long game. And so that's something that I have to learn, and I'm still learning how to feel comfortable with, like, how do I feel about my business, and also trying to separate it from myself. Yes, because my name is on the door. I do feel a lot of responsibility, but what happens with my business doesn't mean that I'm a failure. Just if something goes wrong. So, we have to tell ourselves that too.
I had somebody in the chair. He's in my industry. His name was Mariano. It was one of my top 5 episodes, I'd say, of conversations. And he was just so honest, and I think men are also different, and they're usually not willing to be like so vulnerable. And he has a background of like lending, and that's a hustle culture. That's a tough business. And so he was mentoring a lot of people and sales coaching, all that stuff. And he told me now, like, I had asked him a question about like accountability with his team, and he was like, what people don't realize is that like 12 months, if I have 3 bad months and I have 9 great months, that's one of my best years. Like, for people to think that you're going to get 12 out of 12 is unreasonable.
Yeah.
So look at it as a season, like we do a sports team. And I was like, my mind was blown, because it was like, there's no team that wins 100% of the games. If I have a 9-3 season, I am having a killer season. And it changed my perspective 100%.
Yeah.
This year so far, January, we killed it. February, we're not killing it so far. That's okay. February might be one of my bad months. All right. Well, then how do we not have March be?
Yeah.
And so that mindset, and he just said it so chill. Like, some years I'll be 10-4. Still a good season if I was a sports team. And I was like, I need to learn more about sports, because it's true. When you have that,
took away from it.
Well, when you have that mentality of looking at bigger pictures, zooming out, right? And not being the one feeling like taking it personal and that stuff, like, you're not always going to win.
Yeah.
So how do you handle it?
But it's also being realistic about what happens in business, right?
Right.
So, for example, my dad he's like, oh, that business, that they should just close doors. And I was like, no, right?
No.
If businesses are meant to have debt, right?
Correct.
And I remember when we first started incurring debt, I was freaking out, because I had never, for 8 years, we didn't have any debt, but we were growing. So we needed it. And my husband is a finance guy. And so he's like, babe, this is normal. And I remember he sent me this clip. I think it was it Amazon or it was Uber. And he was telling me that Uber for like the first 9 years was in the red.
In the red. Yep.
And
big red.
Yeah.
Not like a couple thousand.
Right.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you need that perspective.
Yep.
I mean, when you're going to pay your bills, it's not very comforting. But that's the reality of most businesses. And I feel like a lot of business owners feel a lot of shame of like, oh, I'm in debt, or I had a red month. And that's so normal. It's normal, guys.
Yeah.
It's normal, and sometimes we just have to come a little bit out of pocket, and then we fix it, and then we get compensated. It's just, that's the way it goes. But that's the hard part of being a business owner. And, sometimes the blessing of being an employee, so you don't have to see those things.
It's the skin in the game. It's the skin in the game. So obviously you help business owners, right?
Yeah.
Give me, what is your perspective on what your top business owners are doing? Why are they killing it? What is the pattern or the trend that you see in those business owners and in their businesses?
Yeah. They're not reacting. So they're planning ahead. They're preparing for things that they know may come, even if they don't come. So they're getting insurance, right? They're getting their contracts in place. They're talking to their advisors. They're planning for taxes, those sort of things. They're delegating. That's another thing, right? Because if you are the founder and you're doing everything, you don't have time to plan because you're doing everything. So when someone has people that they know what their duties are and you're like, okay, now it's my turn to just grow this, you're able to plan, you're able to protect your business. And then just something really practical with contracts. Yes, they have contracts in place, but they review them regularly, every 1 to 2 years. Why? Because laws change, things change in your business, people die, all these things, right? And so those are the things that I see. I mean, just to name a few.
No, but I mean, they're so I'm in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program right now, and I go every Thursday for 12 weeks, and it's like full day college. Literally at MDC. But one of the things that I've realized is that I'm 4 weeks in, just sitting there for 9 hours a day, not answering emails, not talking to clients, doing nothing but working on the business. I've never done that because I don't have the time to. I wear all the hats. Almost all of the hats. I've gotten some delegation down, but I've already felt the difference in just myself and just like the imagining of how big can I make this?
Yeah.
It's wild how it feels. I think it reinvigorated me. I think I was kind of in a slump.
Yeah.
And I think that it just like, wait a minute, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah. And it gives you a plan. Like
I've never done it.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same way when the first time I did a business plan, like a real one.
I've done them, but like not to this depth of like
yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay. So I have the plan is a growth opportunity and we're building this growth opportunity to hopefully launch it. Right. And so it's like, we're testing it. Like we're doing a feasibility test. Like, I don't know how to do that. So it's like, well, how much money do you need for a year? What are the expenses that are tied? How long is it going to take you to get your money back? Like, I don't know. I'm not equipped how to do that. Right. Yeah. Like I did get an associates in business, but that was a million years ago. And it's so not technical, right? Mm-hmm. An associates of business is not real. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's nothing, so it's like, it's having the opportunity to just sit there and make these decisions, view the business from the top, from like the bird's eye view and be like, oh my gosh, there's so many holes. How did I not know that? Well, it's because I'm in a maze over here, head down working that I didn't see what's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so even you saying about the being reactive, right? Like not being reactive, like that they've already anticipated those things. They've already sat down and said, okay, if this happens, this is what we do. If I did that, I had never done that for my business. Week 2, we had to do like a risk audit of like, what are the possible threats of mine? One of my threats that I've been affected 3rd year in a row, but I've never sat down and put pen to paper is venture coming in and buying my clients. I lost a huge elevator company that I had in 24.
We talked about that. I remember.
Last year it happened to me. And this year I already have 2 of my clients that are considering being bought. That's revenue that gets swiped away from me.
Huh.
It's happening.
But now you can think about how to resolve that.
Okay. So then exactly. So I need to identify the revenue that I get from these clients and try to live like I don't have it and make up for it. And if I have it, it's a bonus, right? Like if they don't get bought and they renew, great. But even that concept of like, man, my clients are kind of getting gobbled up. What am I going to do to pivot?
Yeah.
Mind blown. And I'm on my 3rd year of going through it. I'm just like, man, my clients keep getting bought. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it?
So how do you keep in touch with you? Because I'm guessing your clients are repeat clients, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you do to keep that relationship sexy?
Yeah. So obviously, like I've had really good experiences with the ones that have left. Like, some of them can't tell us that they're being bought because they have the NDAs and we find out at closing. But for example, the one this year, he texted me. He was like, "Hey, C, I need to talk to you." He was like, "Look, I'm thinking about selling my businesses, and I'm going to introduce you to the potential buyer and their insurance agent, and they want to review some things about my policies." Okay. And the guy already, that at that level, they come with their insurance agents, because naturally my next question is, "Hey, can you make an introduction to hopefully I can keep it?" I try. But when they're that big, they're pretty insulated with their, with their advisors naturally. Mm-hmm. So, but even just that concept of like being able to sit down and think on the business. I haven't done it in 6 years.
Yeah.
Wild.
That topic of your own clients, that's what came to mind the last time I had a break. My husband and I we do that every quarter. So every quarter we take a weekend and we're like, okay, where are we with the business plan? Are we on track? Do we have to pivot? That sort of thing. And one thing that we noticed in the last one was our main revenue is repeat clients, right? So how are we cultivating that? But I would have never noticed. I mean, I would have never, because we're so caught up in, let me get new clients. But these clients already like you. They already trust you. They've already worked with you. So why not cultivate that? And so if you don't have time to just breathe and take a step back, you'll never see that. You won't. As much as you want to see it, you won't.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's been fascinating to me to do this exercise and be able to identify those things. And it's nice that you have someone to do that with, right? Because it's just me in my head. So
I mean, so I was part of a program too. It's called How to Manage a Small Law Firm. I'm sure you had a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of attorneys are part of it, and they encourage you to bring your spouse. And I thought that was fantastic because, of course, if you're not on the same page as your spouse, even with your business, it's just not gonna go anywhere good. And so to have sit down with my husband and say, okay, what size house do we want to buy? How much is that going to cost us? And work backwards of how much do we have to make every month? How many cases is that? What percentage of profit is that? And so go all the way back to like, this is how many leads I need to get that many cases.
How many lunches, how many breakfasts. Yep.
Yeah. It's that micro. And, but it makes it feel so possible. Right. You know what I mean? And again, we still haven't gotten to that plan. I mean, my $6 million home is still not here, but
it will be.
It's coming. But it just makes it feel like you're on the right path,
right? Or
that you're on a path, which before what I felt was like, I'm just throwing things and like, pray Lord that everything comes together.
Right.
And I've had slumps and I think I'm in a funk and I have to get back into it. But those moments allow you to kind of like regroup and say, okay, I'm done with that funk. Let's keep going.
I think too, it alleviates for me what I'm learning. Tomorrow's 5 weeks into the program, but like what I'm learning too is that even when you're in those slumps, when you have the plan, it's just numbers.
Yeah.
Business is a numbers game.
Yeah.
Sales is a numbers game. Yes, you need to be you need to have be tactfully good at your craft. Yes, you need to be an expert. And sure, there's some sales skills and all that stuff, but like I'm not super aggressive in sales. I'm very educational based. But like, it's a numbers game. If you cold call in my business, if you cold call 100 dials, you're going to get 10 people to answer the phone. You're going to get 2 yes. You're going to get 2 appointments. It's a numbers game. So it also kind of like removes the failure from it. Like, no, you just got to get your reps in.
Yeah.
Business is reps.
Yeah.
So then you feel a little bit better. I mean, it helped. It's helping me at least.
Yeah, it is. It takes the emotion out of it too, because
it does.
There were so many months that I was like, we did so bad this month. I remember my CEO was like, well, what's your number? And then we would go back and she's like, you had the best month yet. Why did you feel it? But it's just the emotion, right? Because you're doing so many other things that you think you had a bad month. So I think having a plan and looking at numbers makes it just like, take the emotion out. Right. What are the numbers? And I love that. Yeah.
And you'll know if you did the work or not, because the numbers don't lie. Like it has really just benefited me.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah. I love to hear about this stuff.
I'm excited. It's been very eye-opening. It's like and like an MBA of business, and it's nice because we're 40 business owners in the room. And so, you hear what other people are going through, you see what they're struggling with, what they're winning, how they're winning. And even if they're in different industries, you can still apply some of the stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what the business owners are doing good. What about the bad? What are the common traits in between like your lower performing businesses, let's say?
Yeah.
Let me guess, they don't listen. they don't take advice.
They don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how
because it happens to me.
Yeah. And then it blows up and they're like, can you help? And I'm like, no, it's too late now. Now you have to go pay an attorney $500 or $600 to fight this when we could have resolved it. They don't listen. They wait for things to blow up. So they're not pre-planning. They don't have contracts in place. They're basically just waiting for things to blow up. That's really, because especially with the smaller businesses, and I get it because, you know, when you're strapped for cash, you have to maximize it as much as possible. You know, they make their priorities other things without looking at the long game and things that I see regularly.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying that you have to do all of the things I tell you right away, because some people just don't have the budget, right? But guys, if you're in a partnership operating agreement, right? And I can't tell you, oh, but it's my wife. Oh, but it's my brother. Oh, but it's my best friend from college. Those are worse.
Worse.
Those are worse. And I can't tell you, this is just so common, the partnership things. I mean, granted, I was part of a partnership. So I'm telling you also from personal experience, and I had one that was really great and the other, you know, we did not and so great. But having an operating agreement that says, this is what happens if XYZ happens, it will save you so much money. So it's funny because they're trying to save money, and what they're doing is they're going to eventually come to, because it's going to happen. An issue is going to come up, and then they're going to spend more money. And so I think the biggest one is not having the right contracts in place, whether it's with clients, whether it's with their partners, or whether it's with vendors, right? Or employees. Oh, my employee left and opened the competition next door. Do you have a non-compete with them? Do you have a non-solicitation? No. Now it's going to cost you a lot more because now all your clients left, rather than that couple grand that it could have cost you to just have it ahead. So it's just, not taking the advice and not pre-planning for things that are going to happen.
It's guaranteed.
They're going to happen. It's guaranteed.
What about like in that operating agreement piece?
Yeah.
What about when it is like a sibling, right? Or even partners, right? Like how do you manage those conversations with, like, because we tell them all the time, like, listen, you guys might be friends or brothers, but one of you die and then the brother's in business with the wife. Like how do you navigate those conversations? Because that can be a little bit tough too, right? That conversation of what's your best piece of advice? Not legal advice, you know, but just like what should a business owner be thinking of besides, because sure, there's that operating agreement, but there's even like the buy sells.
Yeah. Well, think about the things that you don't want to happen. So you just mentioned, right? Okay, someone dies. Do I really want to work with her second cousin, which is probably the closest relative she has, that has no college degree and sits on a couch, or that knows nothing about my business? But more than anything, I mean, with couples, I straight up ask, imagine you guys get divorced right now. Like, what would you want to happen with the business? And we just walk it through, you know, and we prepare for that you plan the end in a good state. So it's easier, right? Listen, my husband and I are in business together. We are launching a business now together. We're working on an operating agreement. We are doing it. And I have to tell him, like, okay, if we divorce or if something happens, how do we want to handle this? We have to have those conversations. I have no plans of divorcing, as most people
for the
do.
record,
right?
No, but listen, nobody does. It's the same thing as a prenup. It's a prenup for your business.
It's a prenup for your business. That's exactly what it is. It's a prenup for your business. And granted, full disclosure, I don't have a prenup. The way I see it, I was like, my husband and I built everything that we have together.
Different,
but you wanna, because even if it's not divorce, things are gonna come up because it gets emotional. Business gets emotional. It's maybe your part, let's say it's not a spouse anymore. It's a friend, right? You are a hustler. You want to grow. You want to make millions. Your partner kind of, you know, they want to make money, but they have a family.
They want work-life balance.
Yeah. How long is that going to last, Ciara?
Right.
It's going to last a year or two.
That's the worst thing that can happen when one feels overworked, the other one, and then you feel like the other one's not working. You get resentment. It's not great. I've seen it happen.
But it can work if in the operating agreement, there's clauses of like, okay, if you work less, this is how we make money and this is how we split the profits. So it can work if you plan for it. But But yeah, you have to be on the same page for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's so complex. And so it's like, so the premise of the pod is really just my industry is very supportive of like, advice and just support of, see, don't give up, like that type of community. Mm-hmm. And so I figured, maybe there's some industries that aren't very supportive and someone's out and deciding to start a business and they have no support and they have no one to talk to and no one to help them and all that stuff. And so I always think about like the pizza person, right? They want to open a pizza restaurant because they love to make pizza, but they don't know the first thing about running a business.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of like, if I could get some real life stories of, and thank you for being so vulnerable about, the slumps happen. You're starting a business today.
Yeah.
What am I hiring you for? What is the absolute needed things to protect myself at a scale, in a budget of a new business owner? What would you say are the things that you need to implement day one?
Like step one, step two.
Step one from your perspective as a business attorney that you would be able to do for me.
Yeah. Step one, LLC or corporation immediately. I don't want to hear I'm a sole proprietor. Mm-hmm. I open up, I don't care if it's a lemonade stand. We are doing an LLC or a corporation. Why? Because if someone chokes on a seat from your lemonade, they're going to take everything in your kid's college fund that you're saving, right? We don't want that. We want to protect your personal assets. Whatever they can take is only the business. So that's step one, basic. Step two, operating agreement. I think that's the number one contract, especially if you have partners, okay? You want to do it while heads are cool. Once the business starts, guess what? It gets pushed to the back burner. And then something happens and it's like, oh, we never finished it. Now we got to litigate. Third, if you've already chosen your business name or if you're selling a product, make sure that you did a trademark search on that name or product. Because what I see often is people pick a name that they love. And guess what? Fulanito down the street is already using that name and they're going to get a cease and desist after they've already bought all the business cards, already paid a website designer to put the website up, already made shirts, and all that has to go to the garbage. And so to avoid losing more money, do a trademark search first, make sure your name is cleared, and then start using that name. Those are my top three.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad I was waiting for the trademark thing, so I'm glad that you brought it up.
My favorite.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So, okay, I opened my business going to Sunbiz and looking up if this name was taken and at the time it was the Bunker Risk Shelter. Mm-hmm. It was not taken. And I was like, yes. Mm-hmm. And then I did it all. I opened the agency, built the business, got the merch, did it all. And then I was like, the name wasn't landing. And I was like, we got to change this name. So we did the Bunker Insurance and Risk Management. Great. Also never checked. I finally got trademarked, but what happens? Like what did I do wrong? Tell me everything. I mean, I know what I did wrong now, but that, why is that so wrong? It's not, Sunbiz is not the trademark.
No,
but it's our third business as a family. We've never trademarked any name. We didn't know.
And even the state trademarks, they'll tell you, they're like, we're not doing any review. So we're allowing you to have this trademark, but if someone else comes, it might be debatable.
Because trademarks are federal, correct?
No, they're both state and federal. Okay. But state trademarks are not fantastic.
Oh.
They're not fantastic.
Okay.
The agency's a little different. I mean, by law, state trademarks protect you in the state and federally, okay. Right? But just the due diligence that the agency does beforehand is not the same for federal. Like in federal, once you have a federal trademark, if someone comes after you and they're too similar or the same, the USPTO will block them out. Florida won't do that. You know what I mean?
So they have more power.
Maybe they will, maybe they don't, but they put a little disclaimer that says maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Right? So if you're eligible for a federal trademark, take it. Mm-hmm. If you do any work across state lines, if you have clients in any other states, definitely do a federal. It takes a little longer, but it's worth the money. So what did you do wrong? So when you register your LLC or your corporation, or even a DBA, because DBAs are not the same as trademarks, you are just saying, hey, this is the business name I'm using, Florida. That's it. You're not asking them to protect you. You're not asking them to not let someone else not use that name. So someone else can come back and say the Bunker Garage Insurance, and it's the same. Mm-hmm. They can do it. And that could affect you, right? Because maybe your referral say, oh yeah, go to the Bunker. And they see the Bunker Garage come up. So that's the first thing. The second, so a clearance search, what that means is I'm looking not only federally to see if there's any federal trademark, because maybe someone had the bunker, right? And then you're infringing on their trademark, which means they can send you a letter and say, hey, Ciara, I love that you like their name, but stop using it. And you know what? Since I have a federal trademark, I want a percentage of your profits since you use my name. Yeah, we have a client right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, didn't listen. So didn't do a clearance search, had a lot of infringement issues, and now they're coming back and saying, hey, we have a trademark. Guess what? I want percentage of it because you made that money
Because of
from my trademark. Yeah. So that's another thing. Not only do you have to throw away all your stuff, you can be subject to those kinds of things. And you have to pay their attorney's fees because they have a registration. So there could be, you were very lucky.
I'm going to tell you right now, it was fascinating to me that all of the years, 2 businesses in, nobody had ever told us, we never researched it. In your head, trademarks are for products. As a consumer.
That's
that
good to
doesn't
know.
live in your space. I'm telling you, I don't have to trademark my name for what? Like and we were in business. We had an agency for 12 years. I mean, granted, nobody would have wanted our name. It wasn't great, but like,
that's what you think.
Exactly. It is fascinating to me. You know what happened? I spoke in a conference in Austin, and all insurance agencies are last name insurance agent. None of them are creative. And so I spoke at a conference in Austin. When I got off stage, someone came up to me in the audience and was like, I am so mad that I didn't think of that name. How has nobody in insurance thought of such an obvious name? It's so obvious. We sell protection. It's a bunker. And he kept on. And on my flight home, I was like, I think I need to trademark this quick. I was like, maybe I am sitting on something.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. But because I thought to myself, man, what if this, and I mean, he wasn't even in my state, but I was just like, what if somebody just opens another bunker, the bigger, better bunker? Like,
yeah.
But it's fascinating to me that it's not spoken about in a small business level. I think people that sell products and need patents and things like that, they're aware of it. Like, I don't know. It's wild to me.
It's an education thing. I'm working right now in trying to educate a lot of branding agencies because they come up with the name, they come up with the products, all those things. And so if we educate them from the beginning, it's an easier process because business owners already have so much in their brain, right? And so if they already done it, they know about it. But the newer ones, or let's say maybe it's a known company, but it's a new head, who needs to know about it is the branding agency. They're the one coming up with the name, and then they can provide more value by saying, hey, by the way, if you protect this name, this is an asset. This is your asset.
Of course. Yeah.
By the way, and that's where I think that a lot of people go wrong in thinking that, a machine or something else is the biggest asset that a company can have. In my opinion, it's its IP because machinery goes old, cash goes in and out, property. But McDonald's, you imagine if you own that IP? Can you imagine? Wendy's, Taco Bell, they were not all big always. They started off small. Chick-fil-A. So we could look at a more recent example, right? Who cares about the rest? I mean, they care about the recipes, right? That's IP.
But that's IP. Right.
But their name is so valuable. That's why you go there and you don't go to, Chicken Spot next to Publix.
And I think that now, maybe because of social media, that idea, and I think that that's a concept too for educating the public because everyone's talking about building a personal brand and your brand and your brand and your brand. Everyone's talking about it, right? But like, okay, well, what happens if someone's infringing on your brand? So I think if anything, our generation is probably more aware of the need, like as business owners. If somebody had told my dad back then in like early 2000s, you need to trademark this, trademark what? Okay, it's my last name, like it's crazy to me though. It's crazy to me that it took me this long to find out about it and to know. And so even if I'm opening my business and I'm starting and I'm choosing a name, I need to search the name first.
Yeah. Because again, it's not just about someone else stealing your name. It's about what if you're stepping on someone else's toes? Yeah,
that's even worse.
You're stepping on someone else's toes. Then you have to throw away everything. It's just such a headache. And there's people like, oh, well, then I'll just start over. I'm like, really? What about all your customers? Now they have to find you again. You lose a lot of goodwill. And I think that's where a lot of people don't see it. And so trademark sometimes does not see it as an urgent thing, but it's so important. It's so important.
That is huge. I'm a big proponent. Do you guys do patents too?
We don't.
Because that's very complex, right? I feel like I know one patent attorney. It's kind of like science. Like they're scientists.
They're engineers. They're rocket scientists. They're much smarter than trademark attorneys.
But I didn't realize, I learned that recently in Miss Esquire because I was like, what's the difference? Like I knew patent, I understand from a very low level the difference, but I didn't realize that it's even like different testing. Like they have to take an additional test, I believe, and they
have to pass a separate bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have to be engineers. They have to pass a separate bar. And actually, we probably should have started with this when we started talking about trademarks, because even attorneys confuse patent, trademarks, and copyright. So,
so tell us the difference.
Yeah. So trademarks protect brands. So your slogan, your logo, the name of your business, the name of your product, all the brand components. Patent is meant to protect an invention. So if you invent some kind of contraption that helps with something, that is a patent. And then copyright protects works of art. So a photo, a song, a movie. That's why you always see those copyright protections on those. But yeah, people get them mixed up all the time.
So like, for example, I have my agency name trademarked, but like I don't have this podcast trademarked. Or
the name of your, what is the name?
The Bunker Talk. It's really not that big. I mean, I know I can't tell you. I know. You see?
My God.
Do you see?
I break out in hives.
I just said the same thing. It's not that big of a deal.
So,
yeah.
Yesterday, and I can't believe it was yesterday, a client texted me, this is the name of my podcast. Should I get it trademarked? And I'm like, sure, let me look them up. Just on the first page of Google, there were 9 different podcasts with the same name. And I messaged them like,
good luck.
I couldn't even find you. I'm glad that you're on Apple, Spotify, all those. I couldn't find you because these 9 came before. I think we should talk about changing your name. So it's not even so much like, who's going to like the name? If I can't find you, who cares that you're doing 61 podcasts? Right. I can't find you.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. In my head, I'm just like, well, I mean, this isn't like a revenue generating project here.
But you want people to see it. That's the point.
Yeah.
And it's not now.
Right.
What if it becomes it and then you have to change the name?
What if I'm the next Joe Rogan, but like not as controversial?
There you go. And not as bald.
Right. Hopefully not as bald and not as controversial. But you're right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like as business owners, we have to think, what if we succeed? Because we're always in like, but we're so little.
It's just a little podcast. Yes. It doesn't matter.
We're always in that mindset, right? But what if we succeed? What if we're big and huge? And now what? Now, someone copied me already. So no. Do not do that.
What about social media handles? Like, are those things you can't trademark those?
No, those are a little harder. So what you register as a trademark are things that lead to the source of a good or a product. So it has to identify the source. Social media handles don't really do that.
I would assume that for certain brands, I mean, losing your handle, it could be tragic as well. You know. There's some people that I call them by their social media handle.
But then you have to look at the nuances, and I'm sure there's nuances with social media handles, but in general, just because I have a social media handle doesn't mean that no one else can have that social media. It has to be tied to a source of a good or a service.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, just like I had a friend like, I have a great team name for my fishing club or something like that. And I was like, okay, do you guys... Is it just friends? He's like, yeah, it's just friends. We don't charge anything. And I was like, well, I mean, it's not tied to a good or a service. So,
right.
No, they're going to deny it.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. That's good to know. Fascinating stuff. Quickly.
Sure.
Tell me about running your law firm. What have you learned in the seed of entrepreneurship? How big is your team?
Right now, 5.
Okay.
We've grown, we've downsized, and now we're at 5.
Okay.
And so what have
you learned of the managing of people?
That it sucks.
No.
No. Yes.
Yeah. That it's the hardest thing.
That I'm not good at it.
Oh, same.
My husband does a lot of the managing because he's just a natural.
Okay.
I'm not that person. I'm not good at it.
That's good that you know it.
I have to manage the legal team because he's not allowed to.
Right.
But other than that, he's just good at it. And so I'm just like, go take it. I'm not going to fight you on it.
Yeah.
Managing people is harder than I thought. Uh-huh. That's one thing. 2, that pivoting is okay. Like if you fail and you pivot, it's fine.
Then it's not a failure.
It's not a failure.
It's not a failure.
It's
you only fail if you quit.
That's another thing. It's taught me to be resilient. Like you just kind of have to push through it. And then I guess at some point you have to be like, okay, it's done. Like I have to quit today, and that's okay too. I'm not there yet, knock on wood. But man, it's just taught me so much, man. That's a hard question to answer, but managing is hard. Sales is hard. Everything is sales. So that's one thing. I used to think of my business as a law firm. Now I think of it as a business that sells legal services. And
that's so good.
That's just what it is. So my business, I feel like I can replicate it to anything else. So like this new business that my husband and I are opening, we are applying the same blueprint that we learned through HTM. Credit to them, by the way. Props.
I've heard it's a good program. Yeah.
You apply those same principles to another business because it's applicable to any business.
Talk to me about that. Like
Sure.
when you say that it's that system that's like scalable, is it SOPs? Like, is it like the traction stuff, right seat, right butt? Like
all of that.
To what extent though? Like how deep and how do you start? I know that you had the coach, which is part of the success of a business is paying for mentorship.
Yeah.
Like if you know that you're bad at stuff, you need to pay for help in the areas where you're bad. Right.
Yeah.
And so obviously it was enough for you to build this business and multiply it. But like, how does somebody start? What is it? Documenting process, or is it even establishing like standards for your business? Like, did you guys do that?
Yeah. So we have a bunch of SOPs that are constantly changing.
Yeah.
I'm sure my team loves it.
I'm going to tell you, as someone that has started I've built out 40% of my SOPs, I'd say. But the biggest issue for me has been maintaining them updated. You need to assign it. It's somebody's job to own the SOPs. And when the process changes in real life, somebody needs to go back to the document.
Yeah. We have someone for that. But it's recent,
right?
Like within the last year. And what we did also is just like the documents weren't helping. So we have Bloom. And what we do is we record our screen. So my intake person, when she's creating an invoice, she clicks record. This is how you create an invoice. And that goes under creating an invoice. So when she's out, someone just has to look at the video and follow the steps. And so we found that to be a lot more helpful than let's screenshot this and this is what you do next.
Right.
So yeah, SOPs. But I think that everything is transferable. So like when I told you about the business plan, right? Of going down to the granular of how many leads I need in order to get how many clients to get the revenue that I want, to have the life that I want. With this new business, when we did the business plan, I was like, okay, how much are we trying to make? And then we already know how many clients we need per month and how many subscriptions we need in order to make that money, right? And so now we have to see as it rolls out, is that viable? And then pivot and adjust, or maybe we need to market more, maybe we need to whatever. So that sales is always going to be the same. You're just selling a different product. What else? Managing people, the right butt, right seat. For everything, any business.
Hard. It's so hard to find that principle, especially when sometimes the seat changes and then it's like, well, but they're a good employee, but maybe they don't fit in the seat anymore. So it's like, do you build a new seat for them? It's so
sometimes.
Complex. Yeah.
So in the new business that we're working on, my husband and I, part of it is having personality tests for people applying for certain positions, because maybe this is the position you have experience in, but maybe you suck at it. Like maybe you've been doing it for 8 years, but your personality, like for example, if I was a litigator, can I do it? Yeah, I can do it. But my personality doesn't go with litigation, right? So I'm probably not the most effective there. But maybe,
or you're not thriving. I mean, you can get the job done, but it would be costing you or taxing you. And like personally, you're not thriving. Yeah.
So I think also just knowing that there's a personality that goes with every seat. And I know you had Sam here, and she does culture index, which I think is fantastic, right? So it shows, is the personality go with the seat that I'm hiring you for? And I think a lot of businesses are doing that, and it's effective.
I think even, I actually have a friend out in Maryland that has engaged someone in our industry that kind of does similar things of like a little bit of AI with hiring. It's not just like putting an ad on Indeed and they're sifting through the candidates and stuff. And even hiring has changed. Even that has changed. And he's telling me I'm spending $500 a month to try to find that right candidate to put them in that seat. And it's expensive, but it's far more costly. It's far more cost efficient than like throwing the ad on Indeed and then spending your time going through it with no assessments, no anything. And like the person has to send in a video. Like they weed out so many of the dead weight, that you just waste your time on, and so the process to apply is a little tedious where somebody is not overly ambitious or doesn't really want the job will quit.
Yeah.
And he's running an agency where they work a 4-day work week. He's paying people for 40 hours, but they only work 32.
Well, is he hiring?
Yeah. I tell him all the time. I'm like, Cruz, hire me. But that concept of like, he's like, I have the right to do that.
Yeah.
And if I'm picking someone, it's because they need to fit into this dynamic. I think that also the mistake that business owners make in hiring is like, they just want to rush through it. Like they're not constantly recruiting.
Yeah.
Hiring for talent is a game of recruitment that is ongoing forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, and this is an opinion question, I guess. I'm curious to see, do you think it was the same years back of, you would hire someone and they would remain longer in the position they were, and now it's just people are kind of flaky? Or do you think it's always been like this and now it's just more? Because I don't remember there being so much turnover. And
no, I think that our generation and maybe 10 years older than us, I would say like 50s and younger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 42. I don't know how old you are. I just assume you're in your late 30s, early 40s. Our parents stayed at their jobs.
Yeah.
Right. My mom literally gets a pension from Equifax. She was there for 33 years. Right. But they were also incentivized to. I've never worked anywhere where I had a pension. So I think that even the benefits have been our parents' generation, their jobs appreciated them. They had packages that were really good, benefit packages. And I think that our generation, I don't know that I haven't worked, outside of even my dad. I didn't have a 401k at my dad's, business. We didn't have 401ks. We had health insurance, but no 401k. I think that businesses don't give as much on the benefit side. And I think culturally, we're just trained to say, you know what, every 3 years, you get a salary bump that's bigger than your 3% raise for being a 5-star player. Because I have a friend that has leveled up. She worked at Memorial for 14, 16 years. And she was like, I'm going to die here. I'm never leaving. And then she got an opportunity. She was mortified to take it. And I'm telling you, she could have retired at Memorial. She would have never made that salary at 3% bumps a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, take the risk.
Yeah.
And she did. And she lasted there for 3 years. She got recruited, got a bigger bump. So I think from a salary perspective, our generation realizes the loyalty doesn't pay off at 3% increases.
Yeah,
4%.
no, definitely not.
It doesn't pay off. So they, you're only, and
that's pretty much inflation. That's all.
Right, right. Yeah. But maybe that's a question even for you, right? Like how does somebody, the people that are killing it that you serve, how do they manage that? Like, in her case, she wasn't getting a promotion. The only option for her to get she got like a 27% bump in her pay was to leave.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think you have to ask people though, because not everyone is the same. What motivates
them,
right?
Sure.
So some people, and it's so funny because we talk to other lawyers, like, I hate when someone comes in and asks about work-life balance.
Right,
like,
right.
You're in an interview, don't ask that.
Right.
So I always laugh at that. But that motivates a lot of people because maybe they have children or maybe they're sick, right? And they can't do, big law paralegal job because they can't work till midnight every 7 days a week. And then there's other people that are like, oh, I'm motivated by money. Like, pay me and I'm good.
But I think even that, our parents, it was money and discipline. You woke up, you worked, you didn't. What is this work-life balance?
But that's what I'm saying. I think there's also a cultural shift in like mentality. And I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. To each their own, right? Yeah. But I'm saying that I think that has a lot to do with why people leave so easily. I think our parents were like, I need a job. I need to feed my kids.
There's no room for your feelings.
Right. And my parents were immigrants. So it's my just, dad. It's not like they had the comfort of like, let me jump from here to there. My parents opened businesses and they had to make it work. They had 5 kids. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. Brady Bunch went away. Yeah. But I feel like that's changed a lot now. I think so. I think now people are looking for, okay, how can this fit into my lifestyle rather than like, let me work and then I'll figure out my lifestyle.
So for example, my friend, she works remote. And so like, that's something for her. Like, I don't want to go back into an office ever. I mean, she's like, I guess if they pay me enough, I will, but like, she has her dog. She's single. I have my comfort from working. She's been working from home since 2020 and she's making more money than ever. Right. So it's not it's for her. It's not a performance issue. Like she adapted, she's killing it, in charge of a team now. For a while, she worked for a hospital in Jersey from here. Yeah. They never had her. It didn't matter. So I think you're right about the culture piece. I think from the money perspective, I just think that we as a generation were trained like you're not rewarded for your loyalty like your parents were. So and the only way to get those big bumps is to leave from a pay standpoint. In my experience, from what I've seen of my friends that are in that space. I mean, I have never worked in a corporate job. So that's one of the things. I think the other side of it is, for example, like my friend out in Maryland, he realized that his staff was burning out. Yeah. Working 5 days a week, getting abused by customers. So he sat them all down and said, hey, listen, I'm willing to pilot this, a 4-day work week. But you see, working 4 10-hour days does nothing for them. They're moms. So he was like, I'm not going to cut your pay and I'm not going to make you work 4 10-hour days. I'm actually you're going to work 32 hours, get paid for 40. Everybody gets a day off a week. It's your certain day. You're not changing it. Well, obviously, unless there's a vacation, but it's like, and there's no Mondays and Fridays. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay. So there's no complaining about they get a 4-day week. No. Yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays are the days that everybody rotates. And he's going 2 years strong, and he's never gotten better performance, better efficiency. Even his virtual employees that are in Colombia, he has them on that schedule. I'm
going to try that. I'm very curious because, I mean, we're very flexible with our people. They're all remote. And like I said, we have single moms that need.
So does he. Yeah.
And a lot of the feedback that we get is that they've never worked in a place where they have the ability to do what they have to do for their kids and for their family, you know? And I think that's how you compensate or compete with big law or big pockets, right?
That is one in our industry. He's winning in the recruiting pool because of that. Yeah. Because he says, I can't afford to pay what the big agencies pay. Yeah. I don't have the pockets to pay it. But what they won't do for the benefit of their life, of their balance that they're achieving, I can do it. And it's worked. He's 2 years in.
I'm gonna try that one out.
And so one of the things that he does, just from as a little plus, is like they have a shared inbox. Because then you start to think, well, okay, well, if Jessica's out, then who's going to pick up her work? And then we have to go into her emails. So they're all set up on they share an inbox. And then the emails are sifted from, and I don't know if that would work in your space, but like from a perspective of customer service or invoices or notifications like that, everyone still has their personal emails, but like a shared inbox, like it's a software called Help Scout. It sits on top of it. So they can communicate within the platform about who's working on this. Did you do this? You know, somebody called to change a car. Like all of that is defined, who's doing it. You know, you got to have that process behind the scenes so that the customer experience is not disrupted with the days off. Yeah. So there is a level, and I'm sure in your space, there's probably still even a layer of, well, if we're going to do this, our customers can't be disturbed. Right. Because they don't like it either when you call and you're always off. I'm always calling and Jessica's never there. No. Yeah. So they're doing a team approach to the service.
I like that. But I'm guessing those people all have the same position.
Probably. Yeah.
That's my firm. It's a little different because they each have their own department. So, but I mean, the idea is great. The concept is you will think about it and probably build it in a way that works for you. Maybe that's the incentive of like, hey, when we add a second person to every team, then we can implement this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Then it's everybody gets a day off, and he stopped with the doctor's appointments, with the calling. You already have your day off.
Your day's off. Genius. Super genius. But to your point of he realized his team was being burnt out in recruiting. He put an offer in for someone that was, he offered them $6,000 less than what they claimed they were making. And he was like, I'm pretty confident I'm going to get it because she's working 60 hours a week. Yeah. She doesn't want to anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's different priorities.
Different priorities. And I think our generation, our priorities are different. I think that we know we need to work, but we don't want to live to work. For generally speaking, I mean, we're sitting in this seat. That's all we do. That doesn't apply to us.
But the goal is to eventually get there, right? I mean, I don't want to work like this forever.
No.
And that's just being completely honest. It's not, I don't think there's any, I think that in Miami, and I think in this time, there's like a romanticization of like the hustle and burning
and
out.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I don't see that as a win. Me being burnt out is not a win.
Mm-mm.
So for me, I want to get to a point where I'm proud of saying like, I took 3 days off this week and everything ran smoothly and I was chilling with a Mai Tai on the beach.
100%.
You know,
and you've earned it.
That's where we want to get. And then my team feels like they can do that too, right? Because then that's, if they're doing the work, they need to be compensated as well. So, but yeah, I don't want to work that hard forever. This is too hard.
No, I agree. Last question. This has been such a great conversation. It's always so fun to talk to you.
Likewise.
What is the best piece of business advice you could give someone?
And I'm not going to repeat those tips that we gave at the beginning because then.
No, just like in general about business, or what's the best piece that you've received from someone that has helped shape your business and your career?
I thought of one, but I'm not going to say that one because it's sort of a joke. Sort of a joke, but still works. Best piece of advice. This is not going to be like the heartfelt one, but you don't have to love your job every day. And that's okay. You just have to push through if you love it most of the time, you don't have to love it every day. And that's okay. And just be resilient and it'll get better. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all I can say.
That's great. It's true. Listen, it's true. It's we're doing ratios here, right?
Yeah.
75. It's Mariano's team. If you got 9 good months, 3 bad,
10-4.
10-4 is what we're looking for. It's true. Yeah. It's so good. Tell everybody where they can find you. And we'll leave it in the show notes too, but just
sure. So our website, www.contractlawmiami.com. We're also on Instagram as Portalatin Biz Law Firm.
I'll put it in there.
Yeah. We're also on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Awesome. I'll connect them all. Thank you so much
for
your time and for your friendship. I really appreciate you. And I'm glad that I got to meet you and develop this relationship here.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.